scheduled to off his initial rookie contract. But then for the next 4 years after that, he will be, or at least now he is set to be, the second highest paid quarterback in all of football. And we will talk more next week on my thoughts about Russell Wilson and if he's worth the money or not. People think, well, you have to do it. People think it's terrible. It's going to cost the team. I have thoughts on it, and it's the right thoughts. Like, trust me, my opinion on that issue is as correct as anyone's can be. At least that's how I see it. But we'll get that next week on my feelings on it. But for now, we'll just throw out the facts because, like I said, we're running way over time this week, and I got to wrap up the show. But so Russell Wilson did sign a 4-year, $86 million extension to stay with Seattle Seahawks, and currently has one more year on his existing contract there. Bobby Wagner also signed a 4-year, like $40-some million contract to stay as the starting middle linebacker on the best defense in football for the Seattle Seahawks. And he was a guy that I want to say was tweeting and talking nonstop about how you can't keep everyone, and I'm out of here. I'll be in Atlanta. I'll be a Falcon next year because that's where I'm from, and Seattle can't keep me, and I'm going there. And then Seattle makes him the highest paid middle linebacker in football, or at least set to be the highest paid middle linebacker in football. But again, that was a 4-year extension. So those new rates will not kick in until this year's final season on the current contract is done. No Tom Brady news other than the fact that the judges ordered basically Roger Goodell and Tom Brady and everyone's agents and lawyers to go sit in a room again and try to figure things out like normal, reasonable adults. Because this is all too stupid to be taking up court time. Is basically where we're at with that. The New York Jets, I greatly beg Miss Jacqueline Davidson's pardon. I mentioned earlier the New York Jets news with Sheldon Richardson. The positive, awesome New York Jets news is that Jacqueline Davidson has been promoted within the New York Jets front office to Director of Football Administrations. And just last week I was talking about Diva Revolution, about the female inside linebacker coach that the Arizona Cardinals had hired, and we're talking about let's get more female officials, let's get more female front office people, female coaches, female commentary. Oakland Raiders got female commentary for their booth this year. We got a female referee this offseason. We got a female coach this offseason. Now we've got female director of football operations. It is about freaking time that the NFL is finally coming around and getting up to pace in the 21st century with women involved in their product and in the organization. Both the NFL itself as a brand and a shield, and the 32 individual smaller organizations that make up the teams in the league. And finally, a small amount of NFL player news. The tight end Quarles for the Green Bay Packers is back at practice. He had to be gone. He was missing training camp for terrible family reasons, and our thoughts and prayers go out to him regardless of the fact that he is a Green Bay Packer. He's a human being, and he was going through some tough stuff. So we welcome him back, and our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family members and loved ones. Also, Jacksonville Jaguars GM commented on wide receiver Justin Blackmon, former first-round pick of a few years ago. He's still out of the league, still suspended, and they do not expect him to ever play football again. For them or for anyone else, but especially for them. And then also the last bit of news, and this will affect your fantasy football draft, so make special note of this. Houston Texans all-world fantasy football running back Arian Foster has a severe groin injury that will require surgery, and he will be out at least is expected to be out at least the first 4 to 8 weeks of the NFL season. So wherever you had Arian. Jeez, I almost said Adrian Foster. Wherever you had Arian Foster on your fantasy football running back rankings, cross the name off. Don't draft him. Get him in week 5 or week 6 when he is about to come off of the IR and when he can actually play. Which that he was one of your top 10, I think. Inarguably, I think he was a top 10 fantasy football running back going into this season, at least, with the offensive line he's got, with the team that he's got, both having a great defense and a questionable quarterback wide receiver situation where they're a defensive minded team and a run minded team. One of the few, so stinks for Arian Foster. We wish him a speedy recovery, and we hope that like I said, he's able to come back in about week 3 or week 4, and he finds his way onto the majority of my fantasy football teams via the free agent wires, and then we go on to achieve fantasy football glory and greatness together. And speaking of fantasy football, either next week or the following week, I will be diving in depth to fantasy football player rankings, giving you my rundown. And this should be charging big money exclusive VIP rates for this when I do this. But within the next week or two, I will be unveiling for you the vast majority of my 2015-2016 fantasy football player rankings. But we need to wrap up our show for tonight, so let us get to our final segment, which is called Balls Deep Thought of the Day. Thanks again for listening. I'm your host, Scotty Ball, here on Balls Deep Sports Talk. Our Balls Deep Thought for the day, like I said, we come back to the LPGA, which I brought up earlier in the show just briefly as Inbree Park, female LPGA pro golfer extraordinaire, mid-20s, dominating for the last 3.5 years, completed her career Grand Slam this last weekend, and you forgot her name already, and so did I, because we've never heard of her before. Why is this? Don't give me the because it's golf and golf's not as popular of a sport argument. We talk about Tiger, we talk about Rory, we talk about Spieth, we talk about the Masters. It's not what it was at its height of popularity, a decade ago when Tiger was on top of the world. But it's still relevant. Don't give me that. It's no different than NASCAR or MMA or soccer or heck, it's more relevant than soccer. Or tennis, all of which have both male and female professional elements to them, so don't give me the whole, it's because it's a female. No, we talk about Danica Patrick all the time if there's relevant news. We talk about Serena Williams all the time if there's relevant news. We talked about Annika Sorenstam all the time when she was on top of the golf world. So you can't give me the it's golf argument, and you can't give me the it's because it's women's sports argument. So that's the Balls Deep Thought of the day, is why does nobody know or seem to care, for that matter, of who Inbree Park is and what she is doing in her career in the sports world. To finish out the Balls Deep Thought of the day, I will give you my theories. And my theories are, there's basically 2 theories for the most part that I have. Theory number 1 is that, first off, we're here in America, and she lives over in Asia. She is from Asia. I'm not sure what parts of Asia, but she is from Asia. And so I think the foreign element of her, helps us to dismiss her and ignore her here being Americans in the United States, just because we tend to do that if it's easy, when we have that excuse handy to us. The other, which I'm even sadder to say, because the first one's not one to be proud of at all anyway, but the second one, and I fear this is arguably even more so, because like I said, we talk about Danica Patrick when there's relevant things going on. We talk about Serena Williams when there's relevant things going on. We talk about Ronda Rousey. Inbree Park, and how do I say this? Semi-PC. Inbree Park is while all people are beautiful, Inbree Park is not someone that that holds to the, social standard and norm for what an attractive person, female in their mid-20s, would normally look like physically. And I feel that it is her appearance, mostly, combined with the foreign aspect, that being the minor, that's about 20%, and the appearance would be about 80%. And maybe maybe appearance would be about 70%, and foreign's about 20%, and then about 5% for golf and 5% for women's sports. But I really feel like that's why she doesn't get the coverage. Those four things combined, but in that order, with that much, priority or responsibility or blame or whatever going to those specific aspects or elements. And it's sad and unfortunate, and it's nonsensical, especially in the sports world. A person's physical attractiveness or appearance or image should have zero regard into what kind of media attention and coverage that people get in the sports world. Coverage should be based off of greatness that is being pursued or accomplished, which is what Inbree Park is doing. She is accomplishing greatness, and she's pursuing greatness at the same time. And nobody wants to cover it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody seems to care or know about it. And I told you why I think that is, and that's our Balls Deep Thought of the day. Let me know if you agree with me, or what you think it is, or what the reasons, probably more than one, are. And again, let me know that on Twitter by tweeting me at BDST Show, or you can make a post to one of my two Facebook pages by searching Scotty-Ball on Facebook, and I have a friend page that you can like, and I have a public figure page. I have a friend page that you can friend me on, and then I have a public figure page that you can like. And also, please continue to take advantage of the show's complete library, on-demand archive on the free Spreaker app. Go to your app store and download the free Spreaker app today, and listen to every episode of Balls Deep Sports Talk whenever you want. And you can also listen on the TuneIn app, SoundCloud, and YouTube. All right, so that is it for this week's 2.5 hour mega episode of Balls Deep Sports Talk. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you tune in next week, and please tell your friends or your enemies or strangers, tell everyone you come in contact with about the show. Help spread the word. Let's get as many listeners as we can, and we are very close to having enough listeners to be on iHeartRadio as well. So thank you for listening and making those things possible. And again, whatever you can do to help spread the word about Balls Deep Sports Talk on WNLMradio.com and all the other various platforms I mentioned is greatly appreciated, and it allows the show to be just bigger and better every week, and we can make your experiences that much better as well. But again, for everyone at WNLMradio.com and myself, Scotty Ball, I hope you enjoyed Balls Deep Sports Talk this week. Episode number 25 from August 5th, 2015, and we will see you next Wednesday. Same stations and platforms, same time, totally different sports talk. All right. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday. I'm out. Peace.